the co-main event spot here, and which might have been the second best match of the night. Um, Babuni, Damian Priest versus The Miz and John Morrison. How impressed were you with The Miz, Rick? Thank you for downloading and listening to West Box Score Lucha Royale WrestleMania edition. Thank you so much for downloading. I'm joined here by Rick Esparza, D-Bot, Donald Paz. What's up, dudes?
Yo, what's going on, man? How you guys doing?
Good, man. How you all doing?
Good, man. Pumped. It's WrestleMania. Oh, man. It's WrestleMania season. It's the best time of the year, isn't it? Come on. Come on. Go. You know you get pumped. You know you get pumped for WrestleMania season.
Honestly, the WrestleMania great thing was great, but it was a really long week. It was a really
Wasn't it, though?
week.
Would you almost say it was like WrestleMania? Remember, it was one night only WrestleMania. Now it's freaking WrestleMania week. Like, that's the whole thing, right?
Yeah, that's just, it's pretty tough. I mean, it's okay. When it went to 2 days, I'm like, okay, all right, perfectly fine. I'm gonna see 2 days. But then they actually did, Stand and Deliver with NXT. Oh,
yeah. Well, yeah, they started doing what NXT a few years ago, right? And it was exciting. And it's like, all right, cool. Like the Saturday before WrestleMania. But now, ever since last year with COVID, they stretched WrestleMania to 2 nights. And then this year they decided to do NXT for 2 nights and WrestleMania for 2 nights. And don't forget, this week started with the WrestleMania Go Home show. That's always a big deal, right? Because that's where they finally get their last little changes to matches before the actual WrestleMania event itself. And then they do the Hall of Fame ceremony. It's like, oh man, like Jesus Christ, enough already. But I've never really liked the Hall of Fame, and maybe I'm an asshole for that because I don't, it's like, to me, it's like an award show for a TV show. Like, I don't like the Oscars. I don't like any of that stuff either. So it's like, why are you giving awards to like a TV show? It's dumb to me, but I really should appreciate these wrestlers, right? Like, did you catch any of the Hall of Fame ceremony, Rick?
yeah, I'm a mark for all of that. I watched all of it. There was nothing.
It's still
that
real
was
to you,
actually
damn
gonna
it. You
happen.
love them guys.
Yeah, so it was good. It was good. I liked it. There wasn't much to it. Names that you already know that were going to be there. But there was a thing that happened that a lot of people a lot of people know about it now, but they little bit messed up with their Hall of Fame. So when they do like a Legends thing, they talk about old school legends that already passed away. They've already been there, and then what's going on. But this time around, one of the inductees was a black female wrestler that's been wrestling for a good while, and everything was right until the end. So they showed her wrestling. And they were like, all right, she was one of the first females to do a drop kick and to wrestle.
Oh, wow.
And
I didn't realize she was the first female to do a drop kick. Like, that's pretty impressive.
well, apparently so. That's what they said. That's one of their biggest points that they said. And then when they showed the actual video of it, so I'm like, all right, they showed somebody a video of it. And then you see that person that's there doesn't look like her. Doesn't look like the wrestlers that they're talking about.
Wow.
And I'm just like, am I seeing this wrong? Am I seeing this wrong? I don't know. First of all, with my eyes, I was like, maybe I'm seeing this wrong. Maybe
Questioning that LASIK surgery.
Yeah. Maybe I'm seeing this wrong. Sorry, I never even said the name. It's Ethel Johnson. Ethel Johnson was the inductee that she was going into it. And there was the first thing that I want to finish off talking about was the end match that they kind of showed that she did a drop kick and then she won a match. It was like a battle royal match, a women's battle royal match. It wasn't her. It was actually another female black wrestler.
Wow.
It was
So was there any chance that it was Ethel Johnson in the video they showed, or was it just was she, since it was about a Royal, could they have just used the wrong segment of the action, like, or was it spotlighting her, like, you know what I mean? Like in the video, was it just like a wide shot of the Battle Royal and she just didn't happen to be in that shot? Or was it like, oh, there's these two women and one of them is definitely her?
No, this was a match that she was not even ever involved in. She was not involved in.
Wow.
And the wrestler's actually name is Sandy Parker. So they have a very similar figure. They're both around the same height. But the thing is, just their faces are completely different. Their faces are completely different. Now, that's why it was kind of confusing when I saw they were showing the pictures.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's not her. I don't think that's her. But it was just something that was like, oh, maybe I'm seeing it wrong. And then Twitter blew up about it, and they were just like, no, the Ethel Johnson's family was like, no, that's not her. First of all, you guys didn't even ask for permission to do this, so you guys did that wrong, and also you guys got the wrong footage. That's not even her. That's somebody else. And then I had to look it up. I'm like, oh, who is this? And then I looked it up. It was Sandy Parker. That actually was the one that was her Battle Royale women's match that she won, which was kind of like, ooh.
Not Ethel Johnson.
Yee.
Wow. The innovator of the drop kick. So give her props. No Okada without Ethel Johnson.
Not the innovator, but she was
the first female.
To do the drop kick. Yeah.
So would you say no Charlotte Flair without Ethel Johnson? See, and that's what the whole Hall of Fame is all about, right? Recognizing the people who paved the way. And like, does that make me a bad wrestling fan that I don't give a fuck at all about this Hall of Fame? It's just like, I just want to see the matches. I want to see the storylines. And I appreciate that there is a Hall of Fame. I appreciate that they are recognized for their attributes. But is it jaded of me that I know who's in charge of this Hall of Fame? Vince McMahon, who I know he doesn't care about them either. Like, how those contracts are such BS. It's really just to give them, it's all lip service. It's not, to me, it doesn't feel genuine. And that's why, like, why would I invest my time to see this? Or am I just thinking about it way too much? And I should just be a mark and enjoy it.
I think you should be a mark like me and don't overthink it.
Just enjoy it, right?
Pretty much. It's one of those things that it's a bunch of wrestlers that you like seeing grow up. I understand if it's like the golden era before you or somebody like you said, like I was talking about, the legacy ones. You don't really know them. You might know their names, but you're just like, whatever. But like for me, RVD I wanted to watch RVD get inducted. RVD was one of the ones I wanted to watch. And then after that was Kane. I was like, all right, Kane deserves it. Yeah. He's been there for such a long time, such great matches, and has been one of the backbones of pretty much WWE during the Attitude Era, just a really great freaking worker. So I wanted to watch it. It wasn't more of like political things or anything, or damn Vince, he chooses whatever, blah, blah, blah. I honestly don't care. I just like it that they're happy and they're getting inducted and they're getting their props. They're getting their flowers. That's all I care about.
Yeah. They're getting their Hall of Fame ring, which matters. That what they kept showing over and over during WrestleMania. When RVD would show Matt Riddle. I don't know if you saw that segment. That was one of my favorite segments over WrestleMania weekend. Was the interactions between Matt Riddle and RVD, just because they're two, 420 bros who are just hilarious. Matt Riddle definitely is this generation's RVD to a degree, only character wise, not in the ring.
I kind of disagree.
Really, you would say Matt Riddle's? Okay, we'll get into that match later.
Yeah, we have a lot to cover.
Because for me, WrestleMania week really started with NXT Stand and Deliver Night 1. That's when WrestleMania week really got started. I can't spend this much time on WWE with Raw, the Go Home Raw, the Hall of Fame ceremony. It's just too much. Wednesday night is when my week got started. So, and NXT Stand and Deliver Night 1 was awesome, right? Like it. top to bottom, every match was good. It started with Kushida versus Pete Dunne. On the pre-show there was Tony Storm and Zoe Starks, and then you had that gauntlet match for the North American title shot, vacant tag team title match, NXT title match with MSK and Grizzled Young Veterans and La Liga de Fantasma, dude. And then of course the NXT UK Championship match, and culminating, ending with the NXT Women's Championship match, which was the main event. So, Donald, gotta start with you. Out of all these matches, I know you caught most of them. What did you think? What stood out to you from night one?
From night one, from Stand and Deliver, the tag team match. I wasn't expecting all that high flying and just how well choreographed it was. I think that watching that, it kind of made me think like, if I was a kid, I'd be super pumped right now. But it did take a lot of emotion out of me just seeing how cool it was. And then finally when they win it, it was just kind of like, this was like a really well put together match. And that took a lot of the emotion out of me. I was like, and then the way they placed it in the card, that's what I loved. I was like, this was properly placed right there. And I definitely thought that was, to me, the best match of that night for sure.
Best match of the night. I actually think the main event was the best match of the night, man. I love that tag team title match, but to me, if we're going match of the night right away, you could have, it's interesting you say that, because I could like pick 3 out of these, 6 cards on this card as like match of the night for me, right, Rick? Like, what did you think was like maybe not your match of the night, but one of your like most standout moments?
Oh man, to me it was the NXT United Kingdom match with Walter and Ciampa. Oh my God, they were beating the hell out of each other. It was such a just bruiser match where they were just going at it, and it was so awesome to see because Walter is such a huge dominating force, and Ciampa actually gave it to him. A lot of matches usually don't end very well, and kind of it's a squash match pretty much. Yeah. But this one, it was so good. They were going back and forth, and I still like the finish. I still like that Walter went over, because I still think that he should be the United Kingdom champion, especially with them coming back up again, with the UK tour coming back up. But oh man, that was so much fun, and it was great to see actually Walter's chest all bruised up this time. It's like just to show that he can get beat up too, and he sold everything well too. Like I said, it was a great match. It was so much fun to watch 2 people beat the hell out of each other. I'm always a big fan of 2 big dudes just beating the crap out of each other. It's so much fun.
That strong style, right? Yeah. They laid their shit in on this match. That's the beauty of wrestling, when 2 guys like this can work together like that, snug, as they say, because we all know this is a work. This is all scripted. But it's you want to get lost in the fantasy of it. You want these guys to look like they're beating the crap out of each other, and these guys just left it to your imagination. Like, man, I think they're gonna kill each other in the ring. Yeah, and that's why it's great. As I said, Walter's a goddamn killer, dude. When he went for that chop and broke the table with his chop, like, oh my God, that's such a great spot. And it's just like, because what would happen if he would have landed that? Yeah. Like, that's so great. That's such great, theatrics of wrestling that gets you so involved, and like and like it just leaves you wanting more and more. And the next match has to deliver. The next match has to deliver. And for me, NXT Stand and Deliver Night 1 did that. Like the next match was so good, and then the next match is even better. The following match is even better. Oh my God! And then it ends with the main event. These 2 women, Io Shirai and Raquel Gonzalez. Like, oh my, Io, what is she? She was like, I feel like she's had the title for almost a year. She's had it for
a little bit more over a year. Yeah.
So she's been a long reigning champion, and she is nuts. Man, she did the spot where she jumps off the skull. I'm sorry.
I think 9. She's defended
9 title
times.
Defenses. Oh wow! So and she's just been nuts in the War Games a few months ago when she jumped off the top of the cage. When she got inside of a trash can and jumped off the top of the cage was a nutty spot to see. And of course, she follows that up this time, jumping off the skull from the Stand and Deliver a set, which was 25 feet high. Yeah. So she's just so nuts. All the moves she attempts, and it was just a great back and forth between these 2 women. And it's so tough when women are put in the main event spot, because as a lot of male wrestling fans are like, oh, where are these two women doing the spot? Some wrestling fans are that way. If you look on the internet wrestling community, the great internet wrestling community that we are, it's sometimes we're such assholes about everything, but some more misogynistic than others are like, well, where are these two women doing the spot? It put me to sleep. It's like, I would say 95% have been positive, which is great because I think they deserve 100% positivity because they delivered, man. This match, it's like it says, stand and delivered.
Yeah.
They totally put on a great pay-per-view main event. That's what I expect. If I'm going to sit and watch a pay-per-view and I want to get to the main event, I want it to be better than the other matches. And they had a tall task in front of them when they were starting this main event, and they delivered it. Like, it was great back and forth. Raquel Gonzalez is just showing to be a dominant women's champion now. But leading into it, she was doing great. She had a great program with Rhea Ripley, who's we'll talk about a little bit later. Mm-hmm. So it was great, man. So how long before Io Shirai ends up on the main roster, Rick?
I don't know. I mean, they could put her to the main roster, but the thing is, the sad part, I think she'll get lost. She'll get lost, especially with Charlotte Flair coming back. So she's already thrown herself in with pretty much what happened with Raw after WrestleMania. And then on the SmackDown side, what you make it like a 3-way between Belair, Sasha Banks, and Io Shirai? Maybe that way. But I think that she should stay in NXT for a little bit longer, or she should take a break. She deserves a break. Honestly, she could take a little break, come back, and there's no way she's gonna lose any of that. That any of the audience.
Yeah,
she's too big of a name. She's such a great wrestler that if anytime she'll come out, it's gonna be a huge pop.
Like Becky Lynch.
Yeah.
Donald, what were your thoughts on that main event?
I liked it too. I thought that was really well. I mean, it was really good. I thought that Raquel, that finisher was really great. I thought that they put on a good show. Well deserved for it to be a main event for sure. So I definitely liked that one too for sure. I know I had mentioned the tag match, but this one was definitely up there too as another way of ending it. I thought the way they built the card for that night was just amazing. So yeah, I mean, definitely looking forward to seeing what the women in NXT do because it just feels like there's so much. It's crazy how much potential there is in that roster. Yeah, it's insane. It's insane. But NXT is always fun. It's always fun. So I always look forward to it.
Yeah, watching this, and I didn't want to mention AEW during this because this is obviously a WrestleMania recap.
Yeah.
But watching that pay-per-view reminded me, I couldn't help but think of AEW, right? Mm-hmm. And think about how much NXT is better than AEW in a lot of aspects.
Yeah.
And I think it has to do with the production value, which we've talked about before. Yeah. And it's just really interesting that NXT, the reason I think they look so good is because of the production. Mind you, the workers are working their butts off too in both companies, right? But I feel that because of the NXT's and WWE production value, they can cover up when little mistakes are made, where AEW doesn't know how to cover up those little mistakes.
Yeah.
So it's not for lack of effort, on the workers, on the wrestlers here. It's just the production needs to help them out a little bit. Like, hey, help us out. And also the style.
Yeah.
The AEW style is so fast about getting their spots in and just moving on to the next spot that TV production can't help them. It's like, wait, we're still trying to like catch up with what you were showing your replay of that last spot, but you're already doing the next one, and we're barely going to get back to the right camera angle, and now we got the wrong one, and we kind of saw you screw up on it. But a lot of it too, I think, is AEW. Not so much the botches, but it's when you could tell they don't know where they are in their match, and where they get lost and it's like, wait, am I supposed to go to the ropes now, or are you gonna come hit me with a Hurricane Rana? And I wonder if it's because they don't go over these the way NXT is obviously at a performance center. Mm-hmm. And they have time maybe to rehearse matches.
I was gonna say that I think that what we see in NXT is a testament to the performance center about being able to create this uniformity. Of like, this is just how things are done. Like, there's a program, there's probably like, it's like giving someone, like, they have a handbook, and everyone knows, and there's like this same page vibe about it. And I think, like you were talking about the production value, I think one thing that I definitely took away from NXT's Stand and Deliver is just like how it has its own identity in how it looks. You know what I mean? Like it definitely has like that like kind of punk rock. It definitely to me feels like this is such a Triple H thing. You know what I mean? When I see him rocking the Motorhead t-shirts and then I watch an NXT event, it feels like I'm kind of like in a Motorhead type of environment. And I think that's what's dope, you know, because it has that identity of like it knows what it is. And I think that's a huge thing because you go to WWE, whether it's Raw or SmackDown, it's a lot more colorful and it's just different. So, and it is interesting when they get called up how like they have to change to that other more colorful kind of look and everything, and it's really crazy. But I do like that NXT has that identity, and that's like when I go in, I know what I'm expecting, and they deliver, and that's awesome.
It's a mosh pit of wrestling there, kind of. I like that.
Yeah, I mean they have they have the fans behind cages, even though it's kind of like I like that. I thought that was great. I mean, really well thought out everything. So props to them.
Yeah, and props to, we got to give a quick shout out to MSK for doing a great nod to Hall of Famer RVD with the back-to-back Van Terminators in that tag team match, man. That was a really nice thing to see because, of course, he's in the Hall of Fame. And Raquel Gonzalez's finisher is called the Chingona Bomb, which I think is a great name for a finisher. It's what it looks like too. When you see it, it actually is a perfect name for it because it's just like this great, like a power bomb, but instead of a traditional power bomb, it's lifted the woman up on her shoulders and then throwing her onto the ground, which is just like, that's such a chingona thing to do.
Yeah,
so it's very fitting. So NXT Stand Deliver Night 1 was really great. Night 2, you're gonna see a theme here between both WrestleMania and NXT Stand Deliver. Not as good as Night 1 in my opinion. That's how I feel about it. So let's go over it really quick. There was a Cruiserweight Championship ladder match, was really great. Santinos Escobar versus Jordan Devlin. The women's NXT Women's Tag Team Championship match, Shotzi Blackheart and Ember Moon versus The Way. North American Championship match, Johnny Gargano to beat Bronson Reed. And then, of course, you got the NXT champion Finn Balor versus Karrion Kross. And then the unsanctioned match between Kyle O'Reilly and Adam Cole. All right. All those matches. And I got to say, the only one that I really liked, I didn't like many of them. I only liked probably like about 2 of them out of the matches I just went down on that list. Rick, what did you think of these matches and which one stood out to you the most?
I thought they were all good matches, but the women's tag team championship, the match was, it was good. It was a good match, but I don't think it was like WrestleMania week quality. It was just a good match. There was not much to it, so I didn't really think of that was such a great match.
Mm-hmm.
Sad to say, to me, the O'Reilly Cole match felt kind of slow. I mean, it was. To me, it felt slow.
The hot take.
It felt slow. It was a decent match. It was still kind of telling a story, but it was so slow to me. Everything, and the chain didn't really work that well. Every time, especially O'Reilly was trying to put it around his leg, and
it wasn't a gimmick chain though. It was a real chain.
He could. It would just kind of fall, and it's just like, okay, hold on, let me put it on, and it just. It didn't catch. I thought it was going to be a pretty just beating the crap out of each other. Something that you would see them do at a PWG. It was just something like that, but not really. It was.
That's gonna be a no for me, dog.
Randy Jackson. Man. I was just like, I want to like watch. I want to like this match more than like. I want to be like, oh my God, this was such a crazy match. The story that they've been building up was great, which the story was actually pretty good. I did like the story that they built up to it. But the ending of it was just, okay, sure, fine. Whatever. They stood, but they did not deliver for you. Yeah, pretty much. Good, they did it. All right, cool.
Oh, man. Okay, so what match did you like?
Oh, man, the Cruiserweight Championship was great. They were, they were getting at it. That ladder match was so much fun. Oh man, I could not keep my eyes off of it. I actually had to go to the bathroom and I held it because I'm like, I don't want to miss this.
Right,
dude. That moonsault that Devlin did from the top of the ladder was awesome.
Right,
that was so insane. Dude, they had so many great spots. They had the Spanish Fly spot. That was great. It was just, it was all the way just having, it was spot after spot, but it wasn't too like insane where it was just like, oh my God, you're feeling like overwhelmed. It was just a great match, great story. And I can't say anything else of it. It was just a great match to watch, and it was so much fun.
Once again, the pacing was everything, right? It gave you time to digest all their spots. Like when Devlin does the moonsault off the top of the ladder, it's like, why isn't the ref underneath holding the ladder? Like I think so much of the PWG days of like the ref has to hold the ladder to give the wrestler base to be able to leap off of it, but he did it perfectly. Like that's a great amount of knowing your body in balance to be able to do it from the top of the ladder and not, crash and burn off of it, because that's a very dangerous spot. Watching wrestling for so long and just knowing physics that could be a really bad move from the top of the ladder. D-Bot, what stood out to you as one of the better matches on this card?
Yeah, I gotta agree with Rick on what didn't stand out, the unsanctioned match too. I was gonna say something similar to what Rick said about the Adam Cole match, where it felt long too. It felt like they were trying to do too much for whatever reason, and I get that's unsanctioned, but it felt like they were really taking it to something that, I don't know, I didn't know where it was going, and after a while I was kind of just getting bored, and I was like, all right, how's this gonna end? And yeah, man, but yeah, I mean, again, since it's so little matches that we saw for this one, right? It was only like 5 matches, and yeah, for me that ladder match really was like probably the best one out of all the matches of night 2. I think that there was just so much action that I know Rick had said a lot already regarding it, but like I felt like that to me stood out as one of the more entertaining ones. That definitely, like, same thing as Rick, that I didn't need to go to the bathroom, but I just felt like if I did, I probably wouldn't have been able to not go to the restroom. But it definitely kept my eyes going, like it definitely kept my attention going, which is completely the opposite of the Adam Cole match for sure.
Yeah, unfortunately. I mean, I really thought I would have a different opinion than the both of you, because if you go to the internet wrestling community, as I like to do, for better or worse, they could not stop praising that Kyle O'Reilly Adam Cole match, and it was nuts. It's like, oh, that's an instant classic. 5 stars. Meltzer's gonna have to make up a new star rating because I can't believe how great that match was. And I was reading all that. I'm like, I don't get it. Like, what? Like, dude, that match was, boring.
Yeah.
Like, to your point, Rick, it was slow, and I was waiting for it to build, and it's like, it just kind of, okay. The spot on the ramp where they go through the ramp was cool. Like, okay, like I've been sitting here watching you for 30 minutes. So when you finally give me something like this, it's like, dude, wait, and it's like, and part of it has, I didn't have to go use the restroom, but my little dog had to go use the restroom, and I know she like, okay, hold on, it's gonna end any minute now. And it's like, wait, it's still going on. It's like, we're like 20 minutes in. This should wrap up soon. Like, no, we were halfway through, and it's like, dude, my dog's over here dying. Like,
just give me a minute. It's still good. It's gonna get better.
It's still good. Go home already. Come on. And it's just like, and then as I'm watching this unsanctioned match, I'm like, you know what? These two workers, because Cole, O'Reilly, both awesome. It's like, you know what, guys? Give me a good wrestling exchange here. Give me an arm bar. God damn it! Give me a hip toss. Give me a nice Japanese arm bar. Come on, dude. I don't want to see this stuff with your gimmick chain link here, man. I don't want to see that. Give me some wrestling, dude. Like, I don't know, man. Because I know these guys can go, these guys can work, and it's just like, why are you guys wasting my time with this unsanctioned wrestling match? And it kind of makes me feel like I'm the old man, yelling to get off my lawn because I want to see traditional wrestling rather than just brawling, But to me, it was like a very boring match, and I'm sorry to say it. And I expected better from those two in the main event spot. They just didn't deliver to me, especially after. My favorite match of the night was the NXT North American Championship match between Johnny Gargano and Bronson Reed, because it was a great story of a smaller guy versus a bigger, massive guy. And those are always interesting to me because they could be really hit or miss. Mm-hmm. They could look really bad, and like the big guy's just not selling right for the small guy like he's supposed to, and it not being believable when the smaller guy is going, getting offense on the bigger guy. and it was well executed. It made total sense when they would go back and forth, and just shows you how Johnny Gargano is Mr. NXT. And he was put in a perfect location. If he was put on night one, it kind of wouldn't have, blended in with everything else because it would have fit, but it's perfect that he was on night two because he carried night two. If this match wasn't on night two, I would have completely been like, night two was the worst NXT pay-per-view ever. Like it's unwatchable, but it's watchable just for that match. And I was glad I spent the 2.5 hours there watching NXT night two because I got to see that one. Gargano and Bronson Reed was a really good match. And obviously the latter match, to your guys' point too, was a really good match. And to me, that was about it. Finn Balor, it's always great to see him work, but I'm not sold on Karrion Kross for some reason. I get he's a big guy and he could work really well, but those styles didn't mesh well for me. What did you think of that match, Rick?
It was okay. It wasn't, like I said, it was okay. But it was, like I said, I'm always a big fan of people beating the hell out of each other. So that was just the elbows that he was dropping on Finn was like, man, okay, this is pretty rough. But I feel kind of the same way. I'm kind of lost on Kross. I don't know where they're gonna go with it. I don't know what they're gonna do. It's same thing with what's your name, Scarlett? Or is it
yeah Scarlett?
Yeah. I'm just like, what do you do? Okay, you're screaming and dancing and blah blah blah. But I'm like, you can add her in a way better way too, other than just her wearing freaking leather all the time and just standing there. She's a great wrestler, so she can be a better manager, and they can help each other out, and they can be like a better just team. Finn Balor is always going to be Finn Balor. He's always going to put on a great show. He's always going to be showing all he can do. He can play. He can do strong style that he got from New Japan, and he could do the high flying. He could do it all. But there wasn't really much going on. I didn't really feel like it was like anything too crazy. It was a good match, but it wasn't anything too crazy that I was like, oh wow, it's a must see match. This is something that for sure needs to be on the top bill of a pay per view. No, it's for the title. I understand, but no. Yeah,
a little interesting to see that they didn't put the NXT Championship match in the main event slot, right? That I'm sure they expected O'Reilly and Cole to be better received, at least from us. I mean, apparently the IWC thought it was the coolest thing.
Totally loves it. I still say that Cole should have got some little tips from Britt Baker, and because they did right there. That was another unsanctioned match. And it was a phenomenal unsanctioned match. It was a lights out match. Hell yeah. Pretty much, yeah. It was such a great match. That was a freaking great match. And if maybe that's actually what kind of like made me feel that this match wasn't as good, because I was thinking it should be something similar to this. And then it was apples to oranges kind of situation. It's like, okay, whatever.
I love it that in that wrestling relationship that Britt Baker is the better hardcore wrestler than Adam Cole.
Yeah, right.
That's the great thing. D-Bot, what did you think of that NXT Championship match?
I thought, similar to you guys. I thought it was okay. Definitely Finn Balor to me just felt a lot better of a wrestler. I mean, Karrion Kross, I think I've seen him a couple times. I didn't see the build up to this story, but I did see him a couple times, I think like a couple months ago, and I just kind of never really got the vibe off of him. But at the same time, I feel like NXT kind of pushes him. Like he's someone we need to like pay attention to. And definitely online, I've seen on Twitter, people go wild when they see him come out, and I don't know. I've never understood why. Like I don't see that, I guess. Might be my age, just because I see things differently, but I'm older. So sometimes some of the online, I'm thinking like, is this like some 12-year-old? Because like maybe I haven't seen enough wrestling or something, dude. But that's just me. But yeah, I always thought Balor to me was someone that I mean definitely could be in WWE. I know he was there, but like I think at the same time, like I think that's what makes NXT so valuable, is that you have people like him hanging around and building the brand and keeping the brand looking strong. So that's what he brings to the table for sure.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, they try to treat NXT as like that third roster, that third brand.
Yeah.
and it's good. That's why you don't necessarily have to be called up. Like Rick, you were saying that EO should just stay there, because it should be built as a third brand and maybe travel. If they were to go do shows, I would go see it, and they have in the past. But I would rather go see NXT than like, a Raw branded type of house show or any kind of a SmackDown house show when they have the brand splits, because of the talent they have there. That their wrestling performances will be on par, if not better, than a lot of the stuff we see weekly on Raw and SmackDown. So
Yeah.
NXT Stand Deliver Night 2, obviously not as good, and not as good as Night 1. So now we move on to Saturday night 1 of WrestleMania Tampa Bay, Raymond James Stadium. It gets started 5 p.m. start time here on the West Coast. I'm ready. I click on, and what happens? First ever WrestleMania weather delay. So crazy, right, dude? It's like a weather delay. I've never thought. Vince was pissed at God. He's like, God damn it, I'm gonna go give myself a heart attack right now. Go up there and slap you. Like, that's so Vince never loses. He doesn't even lose to God. Didn't he have a bit, Rick? I feel like he had a bit where he said he was better than God or something like that. Do you remember?
I actually don't remember that one.
Man, I feel like he had some kind of bit where he is very sacrilegious, but I can't remember what it was right now at the moment. But it was really good. But Vince, I can't believe he did the job for God. I never thought he would. I don't think he'll ever do that job for God. I think he'll live forever. And so that's why it was funny to see WWE have to, have a weather delay. So it was pretty nutty to see. Yeah. But first ever WrestleMania, is that what you said, D-Bot?
Yeah. WrestleMania. That's what I think Michael Cole said or something. I remember the broadcasters were trying to kind of like, obviously everyone's trying to make light of it, and I thought it was interesting that like their filler plan was to just have every wrestler come out and do a promo.
Right. And the first one that I remember was the one with Shane, and Shane is like, I don't really hate Braun. It's like, hey, dude, sell your freaking match, dude.
I know, right? Dude, it's so obvious that like it's just more like whatever. I could do.
I'm just here so I don't get fined.
Yeah, pretty much, dude. You'll get these hands.
But it actually went to show, though, who can actually do a promo. Who can do a promo without being really scripted.
Yeah.
And of course, it was like when Kevin Owens is doing his promo, oh my God, it was so good. And it just goes to show that Kevin Owens, oh man, he needs to do a lot more. They need to push him into so much more. Yeah, I think he's still like underrated and not used as much as he should be.
I mean, yeah, but he's making a boatload of money, so you might as well just leave him where he's. But yeah, so once it finally did get started, they started with the WWE Championship match to open the night, which was already pretty nuts, right? Because traditionally, the WWE Championship match is always the main event of the evening. However, this time it wasn't. So Bobby Lashley versus Drew McIntyre. Thoughts on this match, D-Bot?
I thought it, I don't know if it was the rain delay for sure that made me anticipate watching it, but because in the beginning I wasn't. I already, in my mind, I kind of felt like, all right, I'm going to tune in. And I really want to see just like the opening ceremony, whatever happens, national anthem, whatnot. And then whatever opening title stuff happens, I want to see how it starts, the fireworks. And then maybe once I start seeing, Lashley and McIntyre come out, I'll maybe go and grab something to eat at the kitchen. Because I'm not really that hyped to see this fight. You know what I mean? Like, this is not one of those, like, oh my gosh, I was so waiting for this to happen or whatever. Or I was hoping that Lashley would challenge McIntyre. No, it's kind of like whatever. But because of the rain delay, I was like, oh man, I really want to watch this. Like, I just want to see, I want to see wrestling. I want to see wrestling. So I watched it. I thought it was okay. Lashley winning, I thought, obviously the almighty era is here. And that's just kind of what we know now. So it's just kind of funny. I do like that MVP just kind of keeps bringing that home, like the almighty era. So, kind of sold me a little bit. So, it's good. It's good for the merch. So that's awesome.
Totally. Rick, what did you think of this championship match?
I liked it. It was one of those matches where you kind of knew what was going to happen. For me, well, it's the sad part. If you watch enough wrestling, you kind of know what's going to happen. But I still liked it. I still knew Lashley was going to win. There was to keep it, the almighty era, as Donald just said. You got to keep that going. But they put on a great match. They put on a great match. It was a lot of fun, and that's that. There's not really much to it. It was a good match. Liked it, and it was a good way to kick it off.
Yeah.
I was a little bit surprised because surprised in the sense where I thought they'd give Drew McIntyre his WrestleMania moment that he deserved when he didn't get it last year in front of winning the title in front of the fans.
Mm-hmm.
Where I was probably once again thinking too much. It's like maybe they took it off of him just so they could put it back on him at WrestleMania in front of fans. Finally, give him his moment from the year before he never got. Yeah, I got swerved. I got swerved on that one.
That was
because,
a good idea.
Because Bobby Lashley does deserve a title run too, right? So it's great that he can hold the title up in front of fans. So that was really cool too. As you guys are both saying, as MVP is saying, the Almighty era is definitely here. So it's cool. I'm for it. So good for Bobby Lashley. Very entertaining match. I agree with you guys.
I'm still sad that they broke up the Hurt Business.
I was hoping that they were going to come back. Like they were just surprised.
Me too, honestly. I was like, that's going to happen. All right. They messed up. This is the easiest way to bring them back all together. And
Vince is, God damn it, old man. Then we go to the tag team turmoil match, which I felt I wasn't there for it. I didn't think it was gonna be that good. That was my moment when I was gonna go refill my food plate and go get some pizza and half pay attention to it. And I was surprisingly entertained by these women putting on a pretty decent tag team match. There were some great spots, and the women did their best. There was a very funny moment, right, D-Bot?
Yeah, where Mandy Rose slips and falls. What's crazy is I didn't catch it live. And then it wasn't, I think, until you posted it, and I was like, oh, okay. And I kind of felt like I was sitting on the couch watching this. I don't know if it was just me. I was looking at my phone in that second, but it felt like something happened because afterwards it did feel like a little awkward how they were so far apart, and I'm like, wait, what? And I was kind of like. And then I see the replay, and then it's like, oh, okay. And then it was just like funny. And but that was the funniest moment for sure.
Yeah, totally. And she was trending worldwide, obviously, from it. There was already, the gifts were already out there on Twitter. Her tag team partner, Dana Brooke, also had a bit of wardrobe malfunction, and that was also trending. And of course, Mandy Rose owned up to her slipping, right? So that was really funny. And then Dana Brooke owned up to the issue of the wardrobe malfunction, and she says, oh, we should change our names to Nip Slips. And I thought that was the funniest tweet ever by Dana Brooke, owning the errors, right, of the night. If you're gonna make a mistake, you might as well make it on the biggest stage of them all, right, guys?
Yeah,
that's pretty hilarious. But I thought that was entertaining.
It was just insane to me how fast it actually grew. How big there was already gifts. I'm telling you, I saw them fall. I saw her fall, laughed, looked at my phone, and you already sent me a picture, a gif of it. I was like, wow, that was. I even texted you. I'm like, damn, that was fast. That was ridiculously fast.
The internet wrestling community, man, they're evil and awesome at the same time. So good for them, man. Good for them. What else was after that? You had the Raw Tag Team Championship match, right? New Day, AJ Styles versus Omos.
Yeah.
And I found that to be an entertaining tag team match. I was okay. We were all pumped to finally see what Omos can do in the ring. What did you think?
I thought it was a great story told, man. It was the New Day being the New Day, making fun of AJ Styles and Omos, just giving them the business, showing them how old school wrestling is, cutting the ring in half, giving them the old, which I haven't seen in a while, the unicorn stomp. They went around. I remember that was so much fun when they did that before.
Playing all the hits.
Yeah. And they just sold it great to how big like Omos was. It's all like they gave it right when he came in. It was just like overpowered them. They couldn't do anything. Yeah. I bet you that whole spot with Woods getting bent over his Omos's knee and getting pushed in. I bet you that was actually Woods' spot. He told him to do that to make him look so strong, to just put his hand on his face and just like bend him all the way back. And it looked so great too. And that's why to me it was great. It was funny. It was great to see. And then it really sold Omos. He didn't really do much. Yeah. If you look at what he really did, he didn't really do much. But you sold the big man as a monster, as just an indestructible force that doesn't have to do much. And in the end, just can stomp on you, just put his foot on you and just win a title.
D-Bot, what did you think?
Yeah, man, I thought it was entertaining too. I mean, the New Day, man, those guys are awesome. Like, they know how to entertain a crowd because the crowd was kind of dead before they came on, and they just like they woke them up. Like I woke up, I was like, oh shoot, you know. And it was funny, and I like they were like, you ain't a tag team wrestler, AJ. You ain't a tag. Like, I love how they could trash talk in the middle of the fight, and it plays really well with the whole match. Like it does, really well. And I think, like, similar to what Rick said, I think I was also, like, anticipating for the tag. I was like, come on, AJ, just get there. And, like, and then Omos comes in, and it's like...
for the heels at this point.
Yeah, and it's just kind of like, he comes in, and you're just like, oh, shoot, it's kind of over. And, it kind of felt a little satisfying, given how much they were clowning AJ Styles. And I kind of was kind of like, yeah, dude, like, you guys kind of deserve to get, like... get your teeth kicked in, like, you guys were going a little overboard. But at the same time, it was so entertaining. Like, I think that was... kind of like you guys said, it's a very old school way of like kind of like a clinic of what you're supposed to do if you're going to do a tag team match when you have one guy that's super big and you're supposed to sell it as like he's going to be this dominant force. And, those two guys, there's so much charisma, man. Like, they're so good. Their talking skills, the fact that they look like they're cutting a promo while they're doing a match and all that, it's amazing, So it's awesome. I love that match, though.
Yeah. Great match. I agree with you guys. So well done. So perfectly executed. And they're making Omos. They're building him up to be to just be exciting more. What we they gave us just enough to see that he could do damage as a big guy, but it'll be interesting to see how he works eventually 1-on-1 or in other tag team matches. But this set up a really good formula for them to use in future tag team matches. Before this match, though, I totally skipped over, but it might have been the match of the night for me. Cesaro versus Seth Rollins, and man, I had this pegged as one of my matches of the night, one of my matches to look forward to, and to me it delivered a really good, solid wrestling match in the sense where both guys looked good. Rollins, of course, taking the L. Cesaro finally getting his WrestleMania moment, finally getting his WrestleMania win, and if we call it, it's Cesaro's 1-0 at WrestleMania in singles matches, if we're keeping score now, because it was a great build, right? Like this whole the whole political ad against Cesaro never having a singles match at WrestleMania. He's never so been universe. Like campaign ad was so hilarious, right? It was a great build for you to really hate Seth Rollins, and because he plays that heel role so great, and Cesaro is the face we all deserve. Put a rocket on Cesaro already, Vince, man. This guy deserves to be a WWE champion one day. Rick, what were some of your standout moments from this match?
Oh, man. It was... I actually was hoping that he would do the Cesaro's wing for even longer.
Yes.
I really wanted it to do it. I was seeing it kind of like loosen up when he was getting to 22. I'm like, oh, man, no, he's going to fall. Dude, he is so freaking talented and just physically just a beast. It's just insane. Every wrestler has said he pound per pound is the strongest wrestler there. It's just ridiculous. It was the UFO was fun to watch. Him putting Rollins on him without anything, just putting his hands on his waist and just spin around and spin around. Oh man, it was just so great. And dude, he makes those damn freaking European uppercuts look so hard. It's just like, man, that's just crazy. It was so much fun to watch. It was everything. It was a great match. It was a great story that's been building up, and it ended the way it should have ended. And that's where I'm surprised the most from WWE. They actually went all the way through and made everything work. And I'm so glad for Cesaro. I'm so happy for Cesaro, and I feel the same way. I hope they put a rocket on his ass and just send him to the moon.
Damn right. D-Bot?
Yeah, no, similar thoughts as you guys. I thought it was a really impressive match. I thought that for me, watching Cesaro try to do it in the first time around when he only got to 10, I legit thought like, oh shoot, maybe he's already physically tired. Like, I mean, you do need like a lot of strength, right, to swing somebody around, like anybody wanting to do that. Mm-hmm. But he really sold me that, because I legit thought like, yo, like maybe this isn't gonna like pan out like that. Maybe they got to go to a plan B. And no, he pulled it off, because that was the whole thing all along. It's just that he made me believe as a viewer that, oh man, like, Rollins got to like wear him down a little bit, and now he's not going to be able to do the move and whatnot. But then he did it, and then he finished him, and then I was like, yo, like, you pulled it off. And again, like, I'm still like in awe with the fact that he can spin somebody 23 times at WrestleMania. I know he did it 22 at SmackDown, but like 23 times, and then still do his finisher. Like right after, like I can't believe you don't feel dizzy at all. Like that's insane, man. Like I don't know, man. I remember being able to spin like my little cousins and my little nephews around like that, and I'd be like also a little, kind of like dizzied out too. So I'm like, I don't know how you do it, bro, and it's insane. But dude, that's amazing. But yeah, he's definitely really good at what he does, and I think that he's definitely deserving of something really huge, and to be up there with those guys like Lashley and them for sure.
Surprised nobody else throws up either. Taking the Cesaro swing, like even looking at it myself, I'm like, oh, geez.
I wonder if he gives you tips.
That's pretty bad.
Like don't eat these things and don't drink this or whatever before we fight, because if not, you're gonna throw up.
Focus on one of the lights. Stare at one of the lights while you're taking this move.
Yeah.
Poor D-Bot's cousins, man, taking that D-Bot swing over there. Oof.
Yeah.
Also, after the tag match was the steel cage match between Braun Strowman and Shane McMahon. I was not looking forward to this match whatsoever. I mean, cage matches could be really hit or miss usually, but I was just not into any of this build. But I'm like, okay, cage match could be nuts. And I was pleasantly surprised by it. I was surprised that it actually was entertaining. It was a really decent WrestleMania match. I'm like, that's exactly why it's there, for Shane to do some dumb spot off the cage, and he delivered on that. What did you think of this match, Rick?
I thought it was a WrestleMania match. It wasn't anything too crazy. Like you just said, you already knew what Shane was gonna do. He's gonna jump off of something. Or fall off of something. Poor guy. I don't even understand why the hell he throws himself. I mean,
he's what is he, in his 50s, dude? And he's still doing this stuff?
I have no idea why. I mean,
he really is Vince's son, dude.
I guess because he doesn't need to be doing that. There's no rhyme or reason. He shouldn't be doing that. There's no rhyme or reason for him to do that. But it to me, same thing. Story was what I had no idea where they were going with it. It was just he was dumb. That's
I
it.
Didn't care. I didn't care.
But the match actually caught my. It was piquing my interest. In the beginning, I had no interest whatsoever. Not at all whatsoever. I'm like, okay, fine, whatever. But the match kept on going, and I'm like, all right, this is good. All right, this is good. They're putting in good spots. It was a little creative, that whole spot where Shane McMahon was saying bye-bye when he was already on the other side of the fence, and he just ripped, grabbed his arm and he threw the fence and just ripped up the fence and then pulled him back in. That was actually pretty entertaining. I was like, oh wow, that's something I actually haven't seen. Yeah, it's finally something new that you're not you're expecting the usual thing of them kind of like falling off or jumping off. Well, but somebody still jumped off, but he got thrown off. But it was a nice one. It was a good pay-per-view match.
Mm-hmm, totally. D-Bot?
Yeah, I wasn't really too like on, and I kind of watched when I watched it. I think the thing that definitely that I loved was seeing Jerry Lawler come back and do announcing, and just I missed that style of announcing that he did, where he makes you as an announcer, makes you feel like you're, like he's also in on it. So when he comes in and he says like, they give him and Michael Cole, obviously they already have rapport, doing it. So, when he says like, Shane, he's going to have to show Braun, Strowman a lesson or something. And he's like, oh, come on, Lawler. What would you? He's like, come on, man. Shane's so smart. Da, 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 da. It's brains versus brawn and all that. And then obviously you see Shane go up the stairs and it says it on the back of his shirt. And then and then I was like, man, like I kind of missed like Lawler being able to do that, where he makes you feel like he's in on it too, and he has his he has his biases, when he's watching a match. Like, here's my bias, and because now the other guys don't really do that. They do the whole like, oh, like we're just here to do analytics and data type thing and talk about the technical stuff, and then oversell and emotionalize certain parts. But like, I like that Lawler has his bias about like, I'm such a company man. I love the McMahons, like, and it was funny. So that to me was like what I loved about the match. Overall, the match was like whatever. I think there's just better ways to do a PSA for bullying. I don't think this was one of them, but like it's just kind of like I don't know, like I don't I don't get it. Like I get the whole anti-bullying thing. I just think there's different ways better ways to do this, you know. So
don't be a bully, be a star. That's
Yeah.
the ad campaign WWE's got, and you're right. That's total advertisement for it right there. So moving on now to the co-main event spot here, and which might have been the second best match of the night. Babuni, Damian Priest versus The Miz and John Morrison. How impressed were you with The Miz, Rick?
You know what? That I am actually impressed with The Miz. I am impressed
because The Miz carried Bad Bunny throughout this match. It's all credit goes to The Miz and Morrison for this match. None whatsoever to that reggaeton artist, Bad Bunny. That's me trying to be like Jerry the King Lawler, you know, being a heel commentator.
Yeah. Yeah.
He had no business being in that ring.
Yeah.
And he stole the win.
He offered. The Miz offered some friendship, and Bad Bunny
that's
didn't
what
want
he gets.
and that's what he gets.
Oh man, but this was such an entertaining tag team match, wasn't it? Like, just Bad Bunny just created a bar for anybody, any celebrity, quote unquote celebrity, or just, you know, anybody who tries to step in that ring with little to no experience.
I think you set it too high now, man. It's way too high. I don't think anybody's gonna put on decent. It was so good. It was so damn good. I could not stop smiling the whole match. I could not stop. I was just like, wow. Oh, wow. Oh, it was just like, wow, he's really doing it. He's really, and everything. And even the damn Canadian Destroyer.
Yeah.
The Bunny Destroyer. Put some respect on his name.
That was the exclamation mark of the whole match. Right
yeah,
there.
I was like, wow. I was like, when I saw him, I was like, is he going to try to do a powerbomb? I was like, he's not going to pick up. There's no way he's going to pick up Morrison. And then the flip, I was like, oh, it looks so great. And then it goes to Morrison and it goes to Miz, just selling it so damn good. And I was just like, oh, everything. There was no time that I did not like this match. It was awesome.
It's rewatchable for sure.
Totally, right? And we got to rewatch it. Because you know what it is? My one critique on the Bunny Destroyer, why didn't you do it in the ring, though? Like, do that in the ring just to get, like, all the eyes on you, right? That's my one critique. Why wouldn't you have done that in the ring? Because it came out so good. Yeah. So good. Yeah. And, like, man, I feel like that would have been a great, like, constant WrestleMania, like, in the, you know, in future video packages to have that moment in a ring rather than outside. To me, I don't know. I don't know why you would place that spot outside.
Maybe once again, it look more devastating.
Overthinking. I guess to take him out of the match,
because that's going to be part of the reel, for the celebrity reel forever. No, it's just there.
Sure.
That's just going to be the freaking celebrity reel right there.
Yeah,
the moment for sure.
Yeah, man.
And to your point, that there was no moments really where I felt like Bad Bunny was like embarrassing himself, right? Like, oh, that looks so terrible. Like, oh, I hope you don't hurt. He's like going back to that initial slip off the top rope. Like, and I love the way he called back to it.
Oh yeah,
when they called back to it, and he jumps off the top of the rope, perfectly elevates this time. It's like this was perfect. He made up for that slip at Royal Rumble. It was beautiful, man. D-Bot, what did you think?
No, man. Same thing, man. Entertaining match. Definitely agree with you. Definitely the second best match of the night. There's so many takeaways from that match. I thought that seeing Bad Bunny just kind of take the hits that he did. I remember we were on the Discord. I know our Discord on the WWE channel was like pretty active. And I said, I forgot what I said. I said something like this is pretty impressive. And then after a while, I'm like, wow, he's really legit in this match. Like, he's not just a cameo. And I was just surprised. But yeah, I mean, it looked like he really, I mean, honestly, and when you look at the whole match, I think that it goes to show you too, like, even the way he came in was kind of like a statement, you know, when he came in with the 18-wheeler, was kind of like, yo, like, he's really in this, you know, like, you look back at that match and you're like, yo, he was really in it from the beginning, coming in on an 18-wheeler, and then he comes down, he has that big black jacket on, and he's like, he had like a whole costume ready for this, you know. And then he took his hits. He fought back. He did really well. And I think that even the other part that I love was just how good Damian Priest looked. Because Miz and Morrison, not only they made Bad Bunny look good, but I thought they made Priest look good. Like after that match, I thought like, yo, I think Priest could definitely make a run for like the U.S. title or the Intercontinental title. Like he just looks, he's so big and so tall. Like it's really good. So.
And then, of course, the main event of the evening here at WrestleMania Night 1, Bianca Belair taking on Sasha Banks. Main event, first time ever, 2 black women main eventing a WrestleMania. How awesome was that to see finally a moment in history that hopefully it's not the last time we see this, right? Like, hopefully this is the first time. Shouldn't be the last, especially with all the women they have on the roster, the women of color they have on the roster. There's no reason why it has to be the last. Just the first of many. And boy, did they have a lot on their shoulders, right, going into this match?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And you think that's so much. And I love before the match even started, the women recognizing the moment of being in this spot and almost breaking somewhat a character and just letting the emotions come out for just like a millisecond. And I love that touch because it lets us all understand too. You feel what we feel, right? We're with you. You're with us. We're with you. And it was a great way to connect with the audience at that moment and just be like, all right, let's go on our ride. And even Sasha Banks at one point just like kind of claps her hands like, all right, let's do this. Let's go to work. And man, this match, it's I gotta say, there wasn't any moments where I'm like, I'm bored during this match. Like it was a great story being told throughout. It was paced perfectly, just delivered in every aspect, just believability, and almost. I don't think I noticed any botches whatsoever. Like a very minor misstep. I felt like it was almost like on the level, I would dare say, to the Macho Man Steamboat WrestleMania. 4 was it? That's almost like lives in infamy as like the perfect WrestleMania match, and I would put this up there with it. If 1A, 1B. Rick, am I giving them too much praise? Do they deserve this much praise, or do they deserve just a little bit less? What do you think?
I think people are going to hate me when I'm just going to say just a little bit less.
Okay.
Because it's just,
be honest,
it was a great match. It was emotional. I mean, every time I saw them smiling at each other and they were about to break, it was just because you can sense it. And it was not even any fear. It was just so much happiness in their faces that they cannot believe they're both main eventing WrestleMania, and they're it's just phenomenal. It's just it's the first time, never been done, and it never once looked like they messed up. But I mean, this Steamboat Macho Man was just pitch perfect, and I'm not saying that this match wasn't pitch perfect. It was fun, it was emotional, but I would. If you put the emotion aside, it wasn't like full just perfect match. It was a really well set up match, bunch of great spots. When she whipped Sasha Banks, oh my god, it hurt me, and it was just it was everything was done well. Everything was so awesome. Everything was just a great match all around. It was just a great match all around. But yeah, I know people are gonna hate me and say, "Well, why don't you give it to him? Why don't you give it to him?" It's like Meltzer with Thunder Rosa and Britt Baker giving him a 4.75. Well, why don't you give it to him? No, I'm sorry, that's not how I am. I love this match. I will rewatch it again and again, and I would not get tired of it because it was fun to see both of these women that are so great at wrestling. Both technically great. Both can show and mess around and cut like a promo right there to show who they are and show who the badass is. And I'm the, who's the BEST or who's the EST right there in front of everyone. And they showed it. They showed it, and it was well-deserved win for Bianca Belair. I was actually rooting for her. I'm a real big fan of Sasha Banks, but I was rooting for Bianca.
D-Bot?
Yeah, no, same thing too. Like I thought that I enjoyed the match. I thought it was a great way of ending the whole night for sure. Again, the emotional part, like you guys had mentioned, that human part was like insane to experience, and it's also like I remember when they broke kind of character in the beginning of the match, where they're like, you could tell like Sasha's looking at Bianca like, get it together, like we need to like perform. Yeah. It also reminded you, if you weren't like paying attention, that like they're doing this in front of a live crowd, and this is the first live crowd since the pandemic.
Yeah.
So I know there was moments throughout the night where some of the wrestlers were like kind of like when they were coming down the ramp, they were kind of like really doing the whole thank you and all that, because they were kind of like reminding the audience like, yo, like we haven't done this in front of you guys in a long time. And then with Belair, you saw that on the ring where she kind of was another reminder, like you're in front of a live audience, and it just really wasn't. We didn't know if this was going to happen anytime soon. You know, we didn't know when live events would be back, and it was huge. And the fact that she was able to do that for the title was great. I mean, seeing her family at the end. I mean, it was a great match. I loved it. But the overall story behind the whole like overarching it being bigger than wrestling moment was kind of the more touching thing for me, where it was like, yo, like this was somebody's like life, you know what I mean? That just changed now, you know? Almost felt like she won the lottery, you know, but overall the match was great. I mean, and the way the whip, the hair was used as a whip, like, I thought it was really well done, because I think sometimes when you see that, the hair, and you see how like she uses it, and I think on NXT she's used it a lot more, but like, I think at times it can kind of be confusing to me. Like it kind of can come off like a video game character, like when they have a weapon and you just choose them because they like to have that cool weapon. I like that she doesn't really rely on it a lot. It's more like just like a prop that's there. But then she does like get bothered, and then she plays with it, and it does become a bit of a character. But I like that she didn't overly use the hair as like a thing. You know what I mean? Like she did that one whip. You hear the crack, you know, the sound of the crack or whatever. And then like, you know, she finishes, you know, the match and she wins. And then you see Sasha, you know, she does the whole like kind of like I'm mad, but then she's like happy for her at the end. You see her kind of smiling, and I'm not even mad at the fact that Sasha's smiling. Like it was to me a bigger moment than just being at WrestleMania. Like there was a bigger story there. It's a personal story, and that was huge. So yeah.
Yeah, I agree, man. I love the way they incorporated Bianca Belair's ponytail throughout the match there too, and just enough to not overdo it, but just great storytelling to make it involve her hair, Bianca Belair's hair, but not overdo it. And then the whip, as you said toward the end, that left a nice red slash on Sasha's ribs there. So that was a great way to end WrestleMania Night 1. WrestleMania Night 2 was skippable. And that's the end of this Lucha Royale special. Thanks for listening. So look, at Night 2, in all honesty, did not live up to Night 1, just because it was such a great way to finish Night 1 of WrestleMania, right? Bianca Belair crowned the new Raw Women's Champion, and it was just, there was no way they were going to live up to, the SmackDown Women's Champion. And when Night 2 came around, it's just like we were just on such this big high and such this, how are they going to top it? And they just couldn't, in my eyes. To me, all those matches, that 7 matches on WrestleMania Night 2, only 2 of them were really good. I mean, Sheamus, Riddle did really well. Apollo Crews and Big E was good too, but it just was too short to me. And then, of course, Rhea Ripley, Asuka, and then the main event were really good matches. Everything else, man, I was so disappointed by Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. What did you think of Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, Rick? I know you were looking forward to that one too.
I liked it. I actually totally disagree with you about the Night 2. Yes, I agree with you on if Night 1 didn't happen, that maybe Night 2 would have been better, because how Night
2 WrestleMania is not a Wrestlemania.
It was a WrestleMania.
It was a freaking Fastlane pay-per-view.
It was not. Just because fine. You have, how the hell can you get over Bad Bunny, how great he did, and the matches, and then how can you get over the emotional, just the first ever women's main eventing?
They should have switched the nights. If this was Night 2 and Night 1, they would be like, oh my God, it was a great way to end WrestleMania.
Yes, okay, I agree with you that. But you're saying that, this wasn't a great night? It was. All the matches, all the matches
The Fiend
were good.
and Randy Orton opened the night.
Okay, that one sucked. That one was I was confused. The way it ended did confuse me. I was like, okay. But they did, to me, they gave it away that Randy Orton for sure was going to win because of the white trunks. They always go with the white trunks. Seriously, they always go with like that white trunk that you're going to win. Go back.
Oh, okay.
It's the same way like Ric Flair when he holds the red trunks, he's going to lose.
Randy Orton with the white trunks. Okay.
Yeah.
Because Edge was wearing white trunks in the main event.
Yes.
And he took the L.
Yeah, he took the L.
So there goes your theory
but
about
Daniel
white
Bryan
trunks
was wearing white trunks as well, wasn't he?
Your theory then has
only
now been
one
debunked.
person. No, only one person. Only one person.
Oh, do they cancel each other out?
They cancel
then
each other out. It's a double. It's a double.
Well, of course, everyone knows that.
Oh, no. Can you make sense of wrestling anyways?
That's what we're here to do.
We're not here to make sense of it. We're here to add crap
Randy
to it.
Orton and The Fiend just sucked, right?
Okay.
The whole Alexa Bliss turn makes zero sense. It looked cool.
It makes sense not to kill The Fiend because it didn't make sense where they were going with The Fiend after this because looking at that, I'm like, there's no reason to squash Randy Orton. Randy Orton is still an apex predator. He's still one of your big guys. So there's no reason to kill Randy Orton off. The Fiend, you want to kind of keep him? Well, what do? They went with this one.
The Fiend has never won a WrestleMania match at this point. When are you going to let him win a WrestleMania match? Why not against Randy Orton?
For what, though? Where are they going to push The Fiend,
Because he is the apex predator, and he can still help out other guys as he should. The Fiend's never won a WrestleMania match. That entrance was great too, like with Alexa Bliss having the Jack in the Box and him pop up through the top of the Jack in the Box and all that stuff. And that was a great way. It's like, this is Fiend's night. He's gonna win it. He's back. He's not burnt up anymore. He's back as his true form as the Fiend. And the nice tribute to Brody Lee there too. And it's like, this is going to be the Fiend's match to win. And of course, he doesn't, because it makes zero sense for Alexa Bliss to come back up out of the Jack in the Box and just have like this black, liquid running down her face, which it looked so aesthetically so cool. Makes zero sense that the Fiend's distracted by it, though. Didn't get any of that. None of that made sense.
It didn't.
None of this WrestleMania Night 2 made sense for me.
They explained it to it on Monday Night Raw. They explained it a little bit more on Monday. But the thing is, if you didn't pay attention, it still kind of it's still kind of like
still doesn't make sense.
But if you think about it a little bit more, though, like I do, there's a road there.
Nobody overthinks more than me with wrestling, and I still don't get it.
But back to my point, all the matches were good. Every single match there was good. Every single one had a great story to tell. Every single one of them were a great match and worth being on WrestleMania. Yes, they were worth. Hey, look at that face. Look at that puss. I don't care. They were all good.
So Nia Jax, Shayna Baszler taking on Tamina and Natalya. Tamina and Natalya, I feel so terrible for, because those women have been in WWE for so long now, and they've never really gotten any good runs. And I felt so good they're finally going to give them a little bit of push, and like, why not let them beat Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler at WrestleMania? That'd be great. That would have been a great way to end that match. Of course, they don't. Once again, makes zero sense. 2 matches in a row now. 0 sense. Night 2, you are confusing me. I don't like you, Night 2. Go back to Fastlane where you belong.
So just because you don't like them and they confuse you, that means it's a bad night entirely already?
Exactly.
Oh, geez.
I'm already confused and annoyed by WrestleMania Night 2. I don't like it.
I'm only confused and I don't know what's going on.
I'm an old man and I'm confused, standing in the room in my underwear confused.
I used to know what was cool.
I used to know WWE. Now I know what it is. I mean, D-Bot, what did you think of Night 2 as a whole? Like, did you were you entertained by it? Did you think it lived up to? Did you think there were no bad matches? As Rick just said, no, not a single wasted match, even the Fiend.
Yeah, I know that was the worst opener, I think, for sure.
Okay.
Even including
including
the NXT stuff too. Like, but yeah, no, yeah, there's really not a lot that stands out for me. I was a little disappointed in the Sami Zayn. I didn't like the whole like Logan Paul. It felt like a last minute addition. Like almost like WWE needed to have like another celebrity for the second night that was gonna be
like, we can't believe Logan Paul said yes. Let's put him in here.
Yeah, it'll offset the whole Bad Bunny appearance, but then Bad Bunny like set the bar, and now it's like, Logan, you might need to take a stunner here as like a, because like what else can we really do? You weren't really prepared to be in a match. So I thought that was kind of whack because I felt like that was just kind of a waste of a cameo. And then I think it was just a waste for like the match, like the build up to it. I mean, I liked it. I liked the way Sami Zayn was doing this conspiracy theory kind of QAnon thing, man. I was really looking forward to a good fight. And then just seeing how it played out at the end was just kind of whack. And I think for sure the one thing I did love is that I know that there was a couple boos that were happening that I think WWE wasn't liking. I think they were trying to see if they could pipe in some of the cheering to counter it. But one of the boos that I thought was really well executed and that the wrestler responded well to it was Roman Reigns. You know, when they boo him and then he like looks at the crowd and then just seeing how and I think that's just awesome because him winning the title, which I kind of felt was going to happen anyways, I think to me just makes him look more indestructible. So like it kind of feels like the build up to his fall is going to be that much greater. You know what I mean? It just makes me think like, oh shoot, like however this happens, however he comes down, it's going to be so great because he's been able to take this heel form and just really absorb it to its like maximum. And it's been great. So I think those were the little moments that I liked. I thought it was kind of interesting that the crowd was not into some of that stuff and just seeing like the real reactions, you know. Now you're like, ooh, damn, like that's. Then I think that was some of the takeaways. So a lot of the takeaways for me were not really the matches themselves, but just the overall experience and how the crowd felt. And I did see that like night 2 actually outsold night 1 in tickets. So I think what it was is that people were really hoping for a really good night 2, and I think the crowd reacted the way they did. So.
Because I wonder if traditionally we think this as longtime WWE fans, that night 2 is like the real night of WrestleMania and night 1 is just kind of like the bonus night. Like they couldn't fit everybody on night 2. So it's kind of like a spillover from night 2 into night 1, when really it felt like night 1 was the real Mania and night 2 was spillover. Because for me, it felt that way. I know Rick feels differently, but because I was so looking forward to Owens and Sami Zayn stealing WrestleMania as a whole, that the late addition of Logan Paul just felt forced, and it didn't let Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn do what they wanted to do as far as a wrestling match, because they knew they had to incorporate him later. And him being at ringside was a distraction, because that's why he was being constantly booed, and like you're not letting the audience enjoy the match that's Owens and Zayn are putting on, and for that reason too, because you kept panning over to him and you could hear the crowd, it was taking me out of that match too. So that's why I didn't get to fully enjoy Owens versus Zayn on a WrestleMania stage like I wanted to. And I blame WWE for that. Like, why did you force Logan Paul on us, dude? Like you took away our WrestleMania moment, Owens and Zayn and me as a wrestling fan's moment to enjoy that match. And maybe once again overthinking it, but once again, third match of the night doesn't make any sense. WrestleMania Night 2 not making any sense whatsoever. And of course, after that was Sheamus and Riddle. Sheamus and Riddle was actually a good match, and it finally started to pick up for me. And it's like, okay, now WrestleMania, fourth match in, finally getting started. Those 3 matches make no sense. Throw them out the window. Take them to Fastlane where they belong. So WrestleMania just started, and it was great. It was a good match. Sheamus getting the big win for the United States title. And I'm like, oh, that sucks that they have Riddle job on a Mania night. And Raw after WrestleMania, what does Riddle do? Challenges the Hurt Business leader himself, the almighty era Bobby Lashley, to a title match, which is really an entertaining match too. So Riddle's stock with losses is growing. So that's great that they're pumping Riddle big time. And I love the way they even gave him pyro for his entrance. So that's how you know they think really highly of Matt Riddle during this WrestleMania match. Rick, now that WrestleMania Night 2 has finally started, what did you think of this match?
First of all, I actually didn't think this was going to be a great match. When I first saw this card and I saw that was the actual match where I was like, I might go get some food. I might that's when I'm gonna go take a leak. Because I've never
You've been holding it since night 1.
Yeah, but I'm like, Riddle's good. He's good. But I don't know if I thought Sheamus was just gonna overpower him and just outrun him. Just pretty much just beat the hell out of him. It was gonna be a kind of like a squash match, and that's it. But Riddle held up his own. It was really great moves. It was just back and forth. Riddle getting hit pretty hard by Sheamus. Every single time you see Sheamus, he doesn't really hold back a punch. There's no real fake punching or fake kicks with him. It's like, you're gonna get hit. And Riddle's just keeping at it, keep on going. I thought the end was great too. He was gonna go for that like line salt flip off of the second rope and gets caught. Really got caught in the mouth with that knee, that broad kick. Well, kind of, but it was more of the knee. It was to me, that match was a great match. That was one that maybe if they would have started with that one, it would have been fine, because I really do think that everybody was like, all right, Fiend, Randy Orton, gonna be craziness. Oh, wow. And then it was ending with a big ass question mark. Just kind of brought WrestleMania Day down. It was just kind of like, what the hell just happened? If they would have put them in the middle or something, they would have been like, wait, what the hell was that? And then gone onto a bigger match after that. Okay, just fine. That would have been, because the spacing, where they actually booked it wasn't great. It was not great. To start off, what every wrestler says,
have a strong opener.
What every wrestler once says in WrestleMania, you want to be the first or the last. First to steal the show, or last to show you were there. You're that's the reason why you're there. You don't want to be second. You don't want to be in the middle. So to do that in the beginning, you're like, everybody's like, oh yeah, okay, let's go. And then what just happened? Wait, what is going on? And then slowly build up to that. That's why you're saying that. That makes sense. But I go back to it. All the matches were great. All the matches were worth watching WrestleMania. Were WrestleMania matches.
And that's okay. You could be wrong. That's your opinion. And then of course Apollo Crews and Big E. I was also expecting them to steal the show too, with that Nigerian drum fight, which was right away they start using props and like, okay, cool. I don't mind. I love the way Big E was very aggressive to start this match. That looked cool to see that.
Man, they were wailing on each other. Jesus Christ, that looked like it hurt. I don't know how they took so many kendo sticks. Jesus, it was just wham, wham, wham. I was like,
So I was really entertained by that match, and I felt it just ended a little bit too quickly for me. I felt like they could have gone a little bit longer, and I would have been very happy with that match. But still just mildly disappointed by it, but still thoroughly entertained for that little bit of time they gave us. And Rhea Ripley, Asuka, I don't know why, but I was expecting more from these women, especially having to follow up the Bianca Belair, Sasha Banks match. Them, Rhea Ripley and Asuka were in the co-main event slot. So I'm like, okay, they're going to really deliver. And I felt like because that bar was set so high from the previous night, I felt like they just hit just below it for my liking. What did you think, Rick?
Well, it has to just do with the emotion of it, though. It's you're making history with something. And you're not gonna it's gonna be very difficult to compete with that. You can put on a great match, but it's gonna be hard to get that emotional side to just outbeat that. It's gonna be hard. So Asuka and Rhea did phenomenal. To me, it was it was what I would have expected. Again, as a WrestleMania match, it was fun to watch. They put on a great show. It showed Rhea Ripley being strong. It showed Asuka strong as well. They both came out looking great out of this match. They both looked good. Not one or the other looked bad. They both looked good. Put on a great show. The match was a great match, and Rhea won. And she well deserves wins it. I hope that she keeps on going. She keeps moving forward. They're putting her up against Flair, which is kind of scary because WWE loves Charlotte Flair. They love her, and they always give her the spotlight first. Which I'm not saying she doesn't deserve it. It is well deserved, but give somebody else a shot. That's the reason why I say, just stay there. Don't go. Stay in NXT. There's no reason for you to come over here. It would be great to see her there with Asuka and Rhea, and just putting on a match, because that Rhea and Io can go. They've done those matches and they can go. Asuka can match with anybody, anyone. it doesn't even matter how big they are, how small they are. She just has great ring awareness, great ring IQ. She just knows it like the back of her hand and just can sense it like, okay, this needs to move a little bit here, let me move a little bit there, and makes everybody and herself look good. That's always the rare thing to see in a wrestler, where they look good and make the other person look good. And that's why for me, when they weren't doing anything with her for a good while, kind of sucked. I was like, dude, she deserves something a lot more. So when I heard that she was gonna, co-main event pretty much the WrestleMania 2, well deserved. I was really looking forward to it, and I thought it was a great match.
Yeah, I agree. Good. That's a great point. You made a great argument there, and I got to give it a little bit more props than they deserve. That's a great argument for it, because once again, I just felt like the emotion didn't live up. But yes, it was still a great match, and that's why they got to run it back on the Raw after WrestleMania. So, D-Bot, what were your feelings on this match?
Similar to what you guys had already said. I thought it was a good match too. I think I have to give kind of the benefit of the doubt that from the time that Rhea got called up, which I thought was a sport move by WWE to give her the Raw title shot after Belair chose Sasha Banks, kind of have to give them the benefit of the doubt. They didn't have, I don't know if they just didn't have enough time to build a good story that led up to this fight, but for the most part, I think that they did the best that they could with what they were given. And I thought that for me, I kind of already knew that Ripley was going to win it, because it kind of just felt like that, they were definitely looking for a challenger for Asuka for the longest time since she was given this title. So it was cool to see it. I think Ripley definitely showed out at Royal Rumble. And I think that was kind of the moment where I felt like, okay, she definitely deserves a shot. And if she were to take the title, I could see her holding it for a while until a Becky Lynch comes back or something, and then it becomes there's some feud that gets to be kind of told. And I thought that's what made it good. But I think for the most part, I think the match was fun, and I think given what they were based on what they were given, they made the most out of it. And I thought that was kind of all you could really do, I think, in that situation. So that's what I thought of that.
Yeah, good point. And finally, the main event of WrestleMania 2, WrestleMania Night 2, the only match really worth watching was Roman Reigns, Edge,
You're horrible,
and don't forget
horrible
Daniel Bryan. I know I'm horrible. I'm playing the goddamn heel here. God damn it. But no, honestly, decent matches. I really don't feel all of them were pay-per-view quality, as I've mentioned. But this one right here was definitely WrestleMania main event worthy, because it had great storytelling here, and it made me buy in, because you want to have the emotion, right, of is Edge finally, and I love the way the fans there finally made me forget about my biases from reading everything on the online community there, because I was very it was really funny that, and actually swayed me, because there's been so many Daniel Bryan memes going into this match, Daniel Bryan being inserted everywhere, forcibly inserted into everything, right?
King Kong Godzilla versus Daniel Bryan was the funniest one to me.
Right? That's the best, because Daniel Bryan, why are you in it? And then finally I saw the video package leading into it. I'm like, oh, I guess he deserves to be in it, but I still think those memes are funny, so I don't want him to win. So and then anybody but Daniel Bryan for me going in. And then as Edge was coming out, and he is received to a huge pop, I'm like, you know what? I want Edge to win. He had to retire 10 years ago because of that neck injury. I want him to win. And then when Roman comes out and gets booed, and is like, you know what? I actually been liking Romans a lot lately. And you know what? I'm rooting for Roman Reigns now. And then I realized out of all these years of booing Roman, anybody but Roman, it's you know what? I'm a Roman Reigns fan now. And I texted one of the other group chat with the wrestling fans, and they're like, you know what? Yeah, head of the table, tribal chief. Yeah, let's go Roman Reigns. All of a sudden I'm rooting for Roman Reigns. So I don't know. What did you think when this match was getting started there, D-Bot?
Yeah, same. I thought that, for the amount of booing that Roman got, and I think that he does a great job of taking it all in. I don't know. I try to not look at the business side of stuff with WWE, even though I have a hard time, because I love business. I love all this stuff of marketing and sales and everything. And I kind of was thinking, you know what, Roman Reigns has a brand that people will buy, and I could see a lot of people buying a lot of Roman Reigns t-shirts, even with this heel character that he is. And I kind of felt like, yeah, he's gonna win this. And I did have a text chat with a friend, and I was kind of like, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Roman just wins it. I mean, I don't know what they would do if Edge takes it. Like, I wouldn't know what the plan would be. And Daniel Bryan, I just feel was just kind of inserted there. But Reigns just, I don't know, man. I mean, he has the marketability already. This whole heel thing is really working out for him. I kind of was saying like that I'm hoping that the other Uso brother comes back, because I think it'd be dope to see the twins with him in like the faction, get like an official thing going, and then really run up the merchandise and sales, especially because they're all like in that same kind of like the whole ethnicity and everything, and it just, I think it'd be great. And I thought it was great, but I thought that Roman Reigns, I felt like from the get-go, just he just had it. There's just something about him when he came out that just made me feel like, yeah, this guy. I'm not supposed to like him, but damn, he's got this.
Because he's playing like a cool heel.
Yeah,
right? Like he's playing it really well because he's playing more like himself, right? Like the way he really is, and that's why it was so hard to buy into him before, because it felt fake and forced and manufactured, very LAFC like. Now he's very LA Galaxy-esque. Oh wait, this is a Lucha Royale edition. Sorry, a very West Block score mentality here. But yeah, it was believable now. Like we're buying into him, so that's why I'm loving this new Roman Reigns character of himself. Rick, what were your thoughts on this match?
Yeah, well, with Roman Reigns, I've always was like, he needed to go heel years ago. It was one of those things.
Yeah,
he was well loved and well known. He was pretty much like a John Cena. But the thing is, John Cena was still kind of in a sense a nice guy. You knew he was a nice guy. Yeah. With Roman, he is a pompous dude. He knows who he is, and he knows he can beat up people, and he's the badass. So you're trying to sell him as a nice guy? Didn't really ever feel right. So now when he's doing the head of the table, oh man, it is just right in that pocket. He's just perfect. It is him just boosted up. I am the man. I am the one that, you're the one, you are going to acknowledge me. Exactly. You're going to acknowledge me. That's great. That every time he says that, every time he goes on that, oh man, that's so awesome. Yeah. The match itself, it was well worth being the final match of WrestleMania. It was well worth it. And I'm going to have to take my words back with Edge. A while back when we talked about it, I couldn't believe why Edge came back and why did he win the the Royal Rumble.
Royal Rumble.
I just felt the same way, how they've always been bringing back other older kind of wrestlers that they didn't really do much with them. But I didn't give the benefit of the doubt to Edge. And he that build up all the way to the WrestleMania match, he was great. He looked great. The promos that he cut were awesome, and how he looked in this match, dude, it looks like he didn't even miss a step. He didn't, in those 10 years, he did not miss a step, man. He was just so fucking good.
Yeah. He trained hard, man, and it pays off in his training. He looked good. He put on a great show. He held his own with two wrestlers who can still go. Mm-hmm. Roman, skills are coming along. You have come a long way, obviously, from his Shield days. And Daniel Bryan being the wrestling technician that he is, Edge really held his own with those two in their WrestleMania moment in the main stage. It lived up to the hype. I was saying to you guys, I'm not going to do star ratings anymore. I'm not going to be like Meltzer. I'm just going to go like, this match deserved to be here, this match deserved to be there, this is where I would place it. And that's why I was saying those first few matches on this card weren't WrestleMania caliber matches. They were like a Fastlane pay-per-view caliber match. That's just my personal take on it. And this one right here was a WrestleMania main event caliber match. It lived up to the hype. It delivered on its potential. So I was really excited. I was really glad to see this match because it lived up. It hit all the buttons. It nailed all the marks. Perfectly executed by those three guys. What then, of course, Raw after WrestleMania now. What did you think about Charlotte Flair coming back? And do you think she's taking away too much from these women who deserve shots? Rick, are you tired of seeing Charlotte Flair? Or do you want her to be a dominant champion the way Roman Reigns is proving to be a dominant champion.
It's just it's kind of the same story that they've had before, where she just kind of comes in, takes over, wins, and then that's it. What do you do with it? Then what really do you do with it? You just kind of you've pushed her every single time the same exact way, and to me it's gotten boring. I'm not, like I said before, I'm not saying she's not a great wrestler, that she can cut a promo, but to me it's gotten kind of just old. It's getting kind of old. Like, all right, she needs to always be there. You can be there, but put other people over. And every time that she's been on the top, there's not anybody that she's brought with her, really. They've brought themselves to the table. Becky brought herself, did not get brought up by Charlotte. She brought herself there.
But is that on Charlotte or is that on Vince and Triple H?
You know what? I say both parties.
Okay.
Because Becky Lynch has brought up a lot of more wrestlers with her, and
good point.
And she brought herself up. And then when she became the man, yes, Vince and Triple H pushed it, and everybody pushed it, but she was still bringing other people with her. Same thing with Bayley. Same thing with Sasha. The only one that I never really seen that she would carry them, she would push them, but not as much was Charlotte. Charlotte never really showed she could put up a great match, but always you can tell that she's going to put herself first, which it's not that you shouldn't be. I'm not saying she should never be doing that, but there are times when to make the match better, you lower yourself to make them look better, and in the long run, you're making yourself look better. And to me, she never does that. So that's why doing this all over again, bringing her into it, bringing up, you need to pull up Asuka. You don't really need to pull up Asuka. With Rhea Ripley, they already did it. That's a match that makes sense already that you can do it in NXT. In NXT, they already did it. It was Charlotte versus Rhea, and then Charlotte took the belt from her.
I wonder then, are they setting up Charlotte, Rhea Ripley again, and this time going to have Charlotte put over Rhea? That you would have to.
I hope so.
To your point.
I really, really hope so. But the time has only told me that what the history showed, Flair has gone over. She's gone over every single time, where it's just
she really is a female John Cena.
Yeah, pretty much. She's just like every single time. And it might not be because of her, it might not. It might be because of Vince. That probably is like out of her hands. But the thing is, in the ring, you can bring other people with you, and there are times where she does not do it, where Becky has, Asuka has, Bayley has, Sasha has. The other top wrestlers, female wrestlers, have done it, and she never really, to me, does it. So then when you're going back to it, bringing her into this, I'm losing actually interest of it. It's like, who cares? I'm like, all right, fine, you're gonna bring it and you're just gonna drop it. She's just gonna annihilate these people, and she's gonna come in and she's gonna be the queen again. It's okay, la-di-da. We're back to made to step one again, where she's the queen. She's gonna reign over everything for a good long while, and the Raw freaking championship again is gonna be useless, because the sad part is it was useless for a while because they didn't know what to do with Asuka, and now it's gonna be mute again, and there's just gonna be the SmackDown Women's title is going to be the Reign Supreme title, not the Raw.
It's really telling when you look at that women's roster that there's a real hierarchy and difference, because if you look at some of the women who were in the tag team turmoil matches, like Lana, Naomi, Billie Kay, Carmella, Dana Brooke, Mandy Rose, Liv Morgan, Ruby Riott, and of course Natalya and Tamina. None of those women to me are championship caliber, though. And is that on me not knowing how they can work? Is that on Vince not letting them go to work? I think the only women in that caliber are like a Nia Jax, maybe like a Shayna Baszler, who are the current tag team champions, but like they put them in a tag team, so you're not seeing them in singles matches. Like, what about a Shayna Baszler versus Charlotte? How about that? Like, how about Shayna? How would that be a very good combative match to see Charlotte not go over for once and maybe show that she can take bumps from somebody aggressive like a Shayna Baszler.
They already did that, and Shayna Baszler just didn't look strong.
Was it NXT?
Yep.
Or was it on Raw? Yeah.
She didn't look strong. She didn't look strong at all.
Mm.
So that's why I was saying she doesn't look strong. Back to your point about the rest of the women's division. Yeah. It sucks. I was very happy, like you said, I was happy to see Tamina and Natalya being there and actually winning the turmoil. It was like great to see them move forward. But I think booking wise, they don't know what they're doing. They don't know what to do. They have no idea what to do with them. Like Peyton Royce.
Or nowhere on the WrestleMania card.
Yeah, she's doing main events. She's doing like main event matches, which is like really nobody really knows what the hell that is.
Yeah, exactly.
They split.
Hulu cut.
Yeah, they split them up. I like what Billy's doing though. It's so funny with the whole with the whole resume and everything, and it's going to be. I think that her and Carmella are actually going to become a great tag team. That's going to be funny. Mm-hmm. It's going to be entertaining, but like people like I said, they kind of don't know what they're doing with them, and they're not letting them shine. And they already have their main women. They, like you just said, they already have their main women, and that's it. They're gonna boost up what they want and what shows, but they don't know what to do with the rest of them. So that's why you've been seeing these that matches that didn't make sense. The just all those tag team matches that had no story, didn't make sense, and Nia Jackson and Baszler are just there over and over and over, but with nothing really to show for those matches. They just put them there just to make them look like they're still the titles are still a viable thing in
they
WWE.
belonged on night 2 of WrestleMania because it doesn't make any sense. So what another thing from that didn't make sense on Raw after WrestleMania was the number 1 contenders match to face Bobby Lashley at, which is now called WrestleMania Backlash, not Backlash anymore. It's called WrestleMania Backlash. Drew McIntyre won that triple threat match. So, of course, the almighty Bobby Lashley comes out, and they're having a stare down. And then who attacks Drew McIntyre? The 2 guys from Retribution. Retribution? Yeah, I don't even know those guys' names because Retribution's a terrible faction. Shouldn't exist. But I get Mustafa Ali deserves better than this. I mean, don't put him in this faction. Dude, give him a one-on-one. Give him a singles run already. What did you think of that? That build and them possibly joining the Hurt Business. We lost Shelton Benjamin and Cedric Alexander, and we get Retribution thrown into the Hurt Business because that makes sense.
I have no idea. I honestly have no slightest clue why they're going with T-Bar.
Those are their names. I love the way Graves kept trying to repeat their names and like, I'm not going to remember these guys' names because this feels like you're trying to push them on us, and I don't want them in Hurt Business. That's hashtag not my Hurt Business. My Hurt Business is MVP, the almighty Bobby Lashley, Shelton Benjamin, and Cedric Alexander. God damn it, not these 2.
But also the other thing is they keep on saying they're trying to push almighty and almighty and almighty, like how like he doesn't need anybody, but every single time there's always somebody helping him out. It's like why and also yeah, like I said, Retribution, don't even have the slightest idea why they broke up with Mustafa. Don't have the slightest idea where they went. I actually thought they were like back in NXT or main event or whatever, and it wouldn't have bothered me, honestly. The only one that I think deserves a little better is Mia Yim. Mm-hmm. I think she's she's a great wrestler, and I think she deserves to be she deserves to do something more than just a crazy wearing mask lady that just kind of doesn't do much there.
D-Bot, was there any moment on Raw after WrestleMania that really stood out to you as potential for this new season of WWE that we're in now?
I mean, I was interested to see what was going to happen with The Fiend. I kind of was hoping that they'd move on. I just don't know how much more of this Firefly stuff I could keep watching. I get that, they're trying to do the whole, like, this is the horror, part of our show. And I think they I don't know. For me personally, it feels like it ran its course. I feel like if you're just not going to help the guy get any bigger and put him over, then I just don't know what's going on. Obviously, the result of the match at WrestleMania wasn't great. And then like the whole breakup thing, I don't know what this means for Alexa Bliss. Like, I mean, is she ever going to fight? I mean,
well, we're building to a Fiend Alexa Bliss one-on-one match, obviously.
It just feels weird, man. I don't know. And Bliss to me lately has given off these vibes like she just probably doesn't even want to wrestle. Like she just probably wants to go into acting or something because she's playing this character really like deranged and everything. She's really into it. And I just feel like, oh, maybe she just wants to move on, you know, like maybe she's just using this as like a resume builder for something else. But, you know, again, I could see that happening. And then The Fiend, I mean, I feel for Bray Wyatt. I feel like the dude is he has potential to do something greater. Sometimes I wonder if if there's some WWE writer that has it in for him or something that is just kind of like, I don't know, man. But that's the kind of one.
Goddamn Bruce Pritchard, that's what it is.
Yeah, so I just kind of wonder what's gonna happen with that. Like I am curious. It's kind of one of those like I'm kind of like a little over it, but I'm also gonna continue watching it. You know, it's kind of like I want to see if this is gonna continue being like a train wreck in the future. So I don't know, but yeah,
that is the perfect quote for us watching WWE as a whole. I'm over it, but I'm going to keep watching it. That's the way I felt on night 2, all of night 2. I'm over this, but I'm going to keep watching it. But it paid off in that main event because that main event was great. And we're glad you were listening to this Lucha Royale WrestleMania recap edition. D-Bot, Rick, thank you guys so much. Thank you for listening and downloading. Be sure to check us out on Twitter and Instagram at WestBoxScore. Check out Rick on our Discord. Be sure to sign up for our Discord. Rick is on there. Big shouts out to Big Money Matt Paz and, of course, Billy Delgado. Shout out to YouTube. D-Bot, you got anything else to add?
Yeah, man, just follow us on Discord. Shout out to Blue Wire Hustle, our media partner. And, man, if you guys love some coffee, man, check out Sailor's Brew Coffee. We're going to we have our affiliate link. We're going to put it up on the show notes. And, yeah, man, support local businesses, man. That's what we're doing here.
Damn right. And support local indie wrestling once those get back started up because, you know, D-Bot, Rick, and Sonny is going to come out to a wrestling show real soon as soon as those are back up. Get your vaccines. Until then, wear your mask. Hashtag mask up still, guys. That's it for us on this Lucha Royale edition. We'll talk to you next time. See ya.
Later.
Later, guys.